What if Captain America had a darker, more unpredictable counterpart? Well, let's erase the what if part, because he certainly does. And it's John Walker, the US agent, a super soldier with a shield and tons of instability. Walker once took up the mantle of Captain America, but let's just say things didn't go quite as planned. While Steve Rogers stood for truth, justice, and doing things in the right way for the right reasons, Walker is all about crossing the line when needed, and sometimes when not. He's got the strength, agility, and combat skills to make any opponent think twice, but also a side of unpredictability that keeps everyone, friends and foes alike, on edge. In today's video, we're diving into what makes US Agent tick, from his rise as a soldier to his struggles with the super soldier serum, and why he's one of Marvel's most morally complicated characters. Trust us, there's a lot more to John Walker than just another guy with a shield. This is Captain America with an edge. Buckle up, because it's about to get intense. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is John Walker in the Marvel Universe, and how did he become a US agent? John Walker, aka US Agent, was a US veteran. He wanted to enhance his strength, so he went through the Power Broker's strength augmenting process. He did this to honor his fallen brother. He started out in the Universal Class Wrestling Federation, going by the name Super Patriot. But eventually, he decided that his talents could serve a greater purpose as a superhero. Later, when Steve Rogers stepped down as Captain America, he was selected to take on the role. Walker is a loyal Christian and a conservative who holds a strong country-first mindset. When Rogers came back, Walker took on the identity of US Agent, continuing to work with and even lead different Avengers teams over time. John was involved in a lot of controversies while he was Captain America, so to save Captain America's name and rebrand John as the US Agent, a member of the commission faked John's death. After re-emerging as the US Agent, John wore a variation of his costume as the Captain and used his vibranium disc as a shield. To showcase his strength and skills, General Hayworth had John fight a guardsman in an ironmonger as a test for the commission. John was also placed as a leader and a watchdog of Avengers West Coast and the Vision by commission. What was John Walker's early life like, and how did his brother's death influence him? Jonathan F. Walker was born and raised in a small town called Custer's Grove in Georgia. He lived with his parents, Caleb and Emily Walker, and two siblings. He had a special bond with his younger sister, Kate, whom he nicknamed HBO, because of their shared love for Honey Bunches of Oats cereal. His older brother, Mike, was a US Army helicopter pilot and a hero in John's eyes. Tragically, Mike died in combat when John was still a kid, but not before saving John's life during a fire at their family home. Mike's bravery deeply influenced John, shaping much of who he would later become. Determined to honor his brother's legacy, John enlisted in the US Army, where he was stationed at Fort Bragg and formed strong friendships with fellow soldiers Lamar Hoskins, Hector Lennox, and Jerome Johnson. However, when the war ended, John struggled to find a way to be the hero he had always aspired to be. Despite serving, he never saw combat. After his service, John and his friends were approached by a recruiter from Power Broker Incorporated, who promised to enhance their strength to superhuman levels for a price. Unaware of the company's shady activities, they took the offer and traveled to Los Angeles. The enhancement worked, giving John the physical power he had long sought. But before he could make his family and country proud, he had to repay the Power Broker for the treatment. A job counselor recommended trying out for the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, but before John could pursue that, a talent scout named Ethan Thurm offered to become his agent, opening new possibilities for his future. How did John Walker become the Super Patriot, and what was his rivalry with Captain America? John wanted to be a costumed superhero like Captain America, so when Thurm heard his idea, he got financial backers to front the money required for costumes and gear. John then became the Super Patriot. He also talked to other people, making them join him and be his backup. These people were called bold urban commandos. They were a secret organization that wore Captain America masks and executed vigilante justice against those who opposed their conservative values and beliefs. With Therm's assistance, they created a strategy that would make the Super Patriot a national hero. John then started traveling across the country, promoting his image as the Super Patriot to the nation through community services and rallies that were patriotic. He then proceeded to argue that he was the one who stood up for America's true ideals, and then started discrediting Captain America and calling him outdated. John wanted to take some serious action against the difficulties faced by America, but Therm had other plans. He convinced the Buckies to pass themselves off as Cap boosters and to do a mock fight. John initially rebelled against it, but Therm manipulated him into believing that Captain America staged fights, even though John thought he didn't. Therm convinced John that everything's show business. Rogers watched this mock fight and believed it to be real, even though no one got hurt. He also became suspicious of how the Buckies were arrested and ended up following them. He then found John and Therm at a diner and confronted them about what it was that they had been orchestrating. John then challenged Captain America to a fight, but Rogers refused. He left after telling John that if John really wanted to be the symbol of America, he should first be worthy of it. This upset John, but Therm stopped him because he had planned to send the Bucks to take care of Captain America. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise that Captain America easily defeated them. When John was confronted by Rogers the next time, he refused to have been a part of what he was being accused of. Without any proof, Rogers starts walking away, but as he does, he tells John that frauds often eventually slip up and end up making mistakes. And when John slips up, Rogers will be there. This statement made it obvious that this time, John wasn't just going to let Rogers walk away, so he attacked him. After an hour-long fight, John was unable to hit Rogers even once. While John was taking everything Steve had, John ended up declaring himself the winner, but deep down, he knew that it would have taken everything he had for him to actually be able to defeat Captain America. And even though Captain America felt it was more of a draw, he was unable to defeat the Super Patriot. A terrorist named Warhead threatened to detonate a nuclear bomb on top of the Washington Monument and destroy all of DC. Therm, who was in Atlanta at the time, saw it as a huge opportunity. If John could save the day, Therm knew John would surely become a national hero. So once John got to DC, he pushed his way past the police and into the monument. He climbed outside of the building, but Warhead spotted him and started shooting. John dodged the bullets, fought his way through, and knocked Warhead off the top. As Warhead fell, he blew himself up, but it didn't take out the nuke. John had no idea how to disable the bomb, so he handed it off to the authorities waiting below. For the first time in his life, John had come face to face with his death, just like his brother Mike once did. It was a feeling like nothing he'd ever experienced. He saved both the monument and the city, and for the first time, he truly was a hero. Why did John Walker take over the mantle of Captain America after Steve Rogers stepped down? Later, when the Commission on Superhuman Activity sought to make Steve Rogers follow their rules, Steve chose to retire from being Captain America. Unbeknownst to him, Red Skull had been manipulating the Commission behind the scenes. With no suitable replacement, Valerie Cooper introduced John Walker, aka Super Patriot, as a candidate for Captain America. Although reluctant, John accepted, pending a background check. As he waited, John shared the news with his agent, Therm, who wanted to negotiate demands, but John was more concerned about why Steve had resigned. Eventually, John passed the screening, donned the Captain America suit, and underwent combat tests against the superpower team called Freedom Force. John was later sent to Fort Meade for extensive training, which was designed to shape him into the perfect replacement for Steve. Taskmaster, using his ability to replicate fighting styles, helped John learn Steve's techniques. Meanwhile, Therm, feeling sidelined, threatened to expose John's identity unless compensated, forcing John and his sidekick Lemar to scare him off. In a confrontation with old allies, John accidentally injured Jerome and felt guilty for handling the situation poorly. John Walker's tenure as Captain America was marked by numerous violent confrontations and complex moral dilemmas. He and his partner, Lemar Hoskins, formerly Bucky, now Battlestar, faced Professor Power, who was believed to be in a vegetative state in Power's medieval castle, fighting mercenaries and robots before neutralizing him. John's brutal beating of Power to death highlighted his struggle with the ethical implications of his role as Captain America, feeling that he should have found a better way, despite being told to neutralize Power at any cost. Afterward, they encounter the Freedom Force, who informed them of the X-Men's death. Despite not knowing the X-Men, John thought that they must have been something if the Freedom Force disdained them. When famine attacked Kansas, John and Lemar arrived too late to confront her, as Steve Rogers and his team had already been engaged in the battle. Lemar, wanting to be more than a sidekick, adopted the Battlestar identity, and John supported him fully, holding a press conference to announce him as his new partner. So, during this event, former allies Left Winger and Right Winger attacked, revealing John's identity to the public. A fight ensued, but John and Lemar defeated them. Later, John was ordered by the Commission to work with Tarantula to apprehend Spider-Man, who was falsely accused of aiding a terrorist. However, John realized the mission's true purpose when Tarantula admitted his role in terrorizing refugees who had escaped Delvadia, leading John to side with Spider-Man. During the Mutant Registration Act enforcement, John and Lemar attempted to arrest a young mutant, Quill, who resisted but was eventually subdued. However, they were attacked by the Mutant Freedom Force, the Resistance, and narrowly survived a helicopter crash. As John learned more about Steve Rogers, the original Captain America, he was torn between loyalty to his mission and empathy for Steve's efforts. When John's parents were kidnapped and killed by the Watchdogs, he snapped, brutally killing his enemies in a fit of rage. He then held his parents, who were now dead, and talked to them as if having a conversation with them. This event marked a turning point for John, pushing him to seek vengeance against those he believed responsible, including former allies Left Winger and Right Winger, who were burnt alive in a brutal act of retribution. The Commission, unsure of how to handle John's increasingly violent behavior, planned to dismiss him, but political intervention from President Reagan kept him in the role. Despite their hesitations, the Commission continued to use John in missions, sending him to confront Flag Smasher in the Arctic. John was captured, but eventually rescued by Battlestar and the Captain. After a while, due to his behavior, John was asked to step down from his position of Captain America, and his death was secretly faked by the Commission so that he could re-emerge as the US agent. Who wins a fight between US agent and Captain America? There was an instance where a mystery man who was the lookalike of Captain America had orchestrated a fight between US agent and Captain America. John had to fight an entire room of people and apparently kill them. US agent thought that the men were sent by Captain America to wear him down so that Rogers could finish him off after he had been worn down by the others. They start fighting, and Rogers realizes that Walker thinks that the mystery man is Rogers. Rogers also thinks that he had lost his fighting edge when he had last fought Walker and was unable to defeat him. So, after fighting each other for a long time, Captain America was finally able to knock US Agent down. But then again, we need to keep in mind that US Agent had already fought many men when Rogers arrived. Although Steve is more trained and skilled, it took everything he had to be able to defeat Walker. What are the attributes and powers of US Agent, and how do they shape his combat abilities? US Agent has many superhuman physical attributes that he gained after undergoing the Power Broker's process. The powers he possesses are superhuman strength. Okay, so when we say superhuman, we mean that the US Agent is capable of lifting more than 11 tons and can jump higher than 20 feet. This is a huge advantage for combat as it gives him the ability to dodge blows, jump over to his enemies, and throw them around like ragdolls. The second ability is superhuman stamina. US Agent's muscles produce a lot fewer fatigue toxins than an average human being during any kind of physical activity. This enables him to perform at his peak capacity for hours before the fatigue even begins to wear him down. The third one is superhuman durability. His body is tougher than a regular human's, making him more resistant to injury, but he's not invincible. He can still be hurt in many ways similar to anyone else, but impacts and trauma that would seriously injure or kill a normal person only cause him mild discomfort. I mean, he's taken hits from powerful enemies like Sasquatch and survived bomb blasts that knocked him out, but didn't leave any lasting harm. The next one is superhuman speed. He can move slightly faster than a normal human. This is advantageous in all situations because whether you're chasing someone or being chased, being faster always helps. The next one on the list is superhuman agility. His agility and coordination are at a level that goes beyond what a normal body can achieve. Lastly, he has enhanced reflexes. His reaction time is also sharper and quicker than that of the average human. This means in combat, he can probably react faster than any opponent who doesn't have this ability, always giving him the upper hand in combat, making it extremely hard for anyone to defeat him. But, apart from the superhuman aspects, he received advanced hand-to-hand combat training while he served in the US Army. He had been trained in boxing, Krav Maga, Judo, Taekwondo, Capoeira, firearm improvisation, and modern army combat. He was highly adept at wielding Captain America's shield, and he could make the shield ricochet so that it could return to his hands. He would throw it to knock his enemies down with high accuracy. Apart from throwing it, he knew how to expertly use the shield in hand-to-hand combat. He also used it to defend himself and push people off with the shield with quite a heavy force. He was also extremely trained in the use of firearms, particularly being an expert in pistols and rifles. And apart from his physical strength and training, he was a literal genius even before the serum enhancement. US Agent in MCU's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier explored complex personality of US Agent. John Walker has spent his entire life as a soldier, shaping his career after the ideals of Steve Rogers. When he became Captain America, he did so with the intention of serving and representing the United States as best as he could. Despite his confidence in his military abilities, like his decision-making during combat, he openly admitted that he felt unsure about living up to the role of Captain America. He tried hard to meet the high expectations placed on him, but it was clear that he struggled with the pressure. Walker deeply valued his friendships, even saving his close friend Lamar Hoskins before confronting his enemies in a fight. However, when Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes rejected his attempts at teamwork, he became frustrated and bitter, seeing them as Rogers' sidekicks rather than equals. His ego was fragile, as the pressures he faced made him unstable. The stress and weight of trying to live up to Captain America's legacy often pushed Walker to impulsive and violent actions. This became clear when he lost patience during a negotiation, which ruined Sam's efforts. His arrogance also surfaced, like when he tried to deny Dora Milaje's custody of Zemo, claiming jurisdiction. Underneath the brave front he put on, Walker carried deep insecurities about never measuring up to Rogers. His fragile ego led to rash decisions, and, he was humiliated when he couldn't defeat the Dora Milaje, a non-super soldier. After taking the super soldier serum, Walker's mental state worsened. Hoskins was killed, Walker lost control, killing Nico in a blind rage, and even lying about it to Hoskins' family. Despite his downward spiral, Walker still showed signs of his moral core, choosing to save innocent lives over vengeance, and ultimately making peace with Wilson and Barnes. And by the end, he accepts his new role as US Agent, a more morally complex version of Captain America, ready for difficult missions. Does the US Agent have a regenerative healing factor? Is he immortal? Yes. US Agent was able to heal way quicker than a normal human. He was able to heal from the injuries that he suffered from in Latvia, including the broken arm that he suffered from when he fought the Winter Soldier and Falcon. He recovered from those injuries within days. I feel sad that I have to wear a cast for 40 days, while he recovered within just a few days. What are the weaknesses of the US Agent? So, when the Super Soldier Serum amplified Walker's physical abilities to superhuman levels, it also amplified his emotions, particularly his negative emotions. Walker became more egoistic, cruel, unstable, and blinded by pride. He killed Nico without remorse to avenge his friend Lamar's death. Delusion played a huge part in it, as he completely disregarded the fact that Carly Morgenthau was the one who had killed Lamar. He also attacked Winter Soldier and Falcon so violently that it was clear that he would have killed both of them had he been given a chance to do so. US Agent's equipment and weapons explored. Captain America uniform. When he was appointed as the new Captain America by the US government after Rogers stepped down, Walker wore a red and blue suit, similar to Rogers' suit, but after he killed Nico in cold blood, the mantle of Captain America was taken away from him, along with the suit, Captain America's shield. After he replaced Steve Rogers as Captain America, John used the vibranium as an offensive tool by throwing it, and as a defensive tool as well by stopping heavy blows. However, after he killed Nico and showed no remorse, Falcon and the Winter Soldier took the shield away from him, as Walker had proved that he was not worthy of possessing or wielding the shield. Marvelous verdict. This was a complete rundown of who the US agent was, how he came to be, and everything that he faced. John Walker is the best example of how not everyone can be unswervingly good and just. After all, humans aren't black and white, but of thousands of shades. Walker is also a great example of how no one can be like someone else. And if you try to compare yourself to someone else and live up to their expectations, you will slowly spiral into insanity because you will never be good enough. The reason for that is that you're not meant to be someone else. You're meant to be you. The moment that the US agent realized this and stopped being Captain America and started loving his country and being just in a way that would really benefit him, he was able to do much more complex missions. He was a decent superhero underneath it all, thwarted by the expectation to be exactly like someone else, but he was a decent man. He was skilled, talented, smart, and just, whether it was before the Super Serum Soldier or afterward. This was all for today's video. Let us know which character you would want to know about next. See you next time, and if you liked our video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks everyone.